but he hasn't got it now. And then you've got Unko, who plays the support. He also plays like pretty mean tracer and stuff. He's really quite good, but he's really shit on comms. All you hear him say in game is team when people are jumping on him when he plays Mercy, and everyone's like, okay, Unko needs help.
Right.
And then you got Reinforce, or I call him Reinforce, which is Johnny. Actually, and he's fucking. We can get a camera on him a little later. He's 6'5" or whatever.
No, he's taller than that.
He's taller than that.
6'5".
Are you?
Yeah.
That's okay. He's taller than that. He's like 2 meters or something, I think.
Yeah.
So he's 2 meters tall, and he plays Reinhardt. What a fucking legend.
I heard about...
That's not him, by the way. That's Skipjack. He's actually amazing. So Team Rogue, yeah, made up of some really good players. And the last player is IDDQD, who plays their McCree. And so they're actually a really good lineup. But we're going to have to see how good they are on LAN, right? Because they've been training a bit. And this team here, you're going to see, is Graviton Surge. Sat down, actually behind him, that's actually Kenny S's brother.
Yeah, it's...
his name is also Wins.
Wins.
And he's...
with a D.
Yeah, he's coaching. Look at him, he's smiling because he knows we're talking about him. He loves the attention because he's French. And then he's stood over Skipjack, who plays the Reinhardt for this team. He's actually, in my opinion, was the best Reinhardt player in Europe during the beta phase. And I think him versus Reinforce is going to be really interesting. And then they've got Crew, who's probably played more games than anyone I've seen in this.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you've got Alyss as well there, so you can finish him off.
Well, yeah, I mean, Crew picked up Skipjack because he was just told, he was regaled about tales of this prodigal Reinhardt that was sort of appearing throughout the beta phase. He picked him up because of that. He actually, to be fair, Skipjack played with Tavik for a time on Eccentric Gaming, when you throw it back a little bit there as well, for a brief period as well. So, and Eccentric Gaming actually beat Melty in the Ghosty Gamers NA tournament number 3. So Crew had played against Skipjack before that, knew a bit about him, and then he's picked him up for this team, which, while we're talking about Wins and AKM, those were the guys, and we mentioned earlier on as well, that Crew is trying to make this French super team with, right? And now both sides have said, actually, you know what, the atmosphere was pretty shit. And we didn't really get on that well.
I spoke to Wins. It wasn't so much he said the atmosphere. It was like he thought the comms were going to be easier because everyone was speaking French, and actually it was just getting messier. Because it was easier to talk more, you know, in your native tongue. So you were just filling up comms more rather than if you're having to speak not your first language.
Would Unko just say team in French the whole time?
Probably, yeah. He was probably the only person that was capable of keeping comms down. But yeah, Crew's amazing. Skipjack's, I think he's really, really good. He was actually the first, one of my first choices for the Team Rogue when we were building the team, and then Reinforce basically cried. You know,
I heard something about him, about Reinforce, 36%. Was that right? Or 38%?
Oh yeah, so the way that I sum up, because I have to keep his ego in check, because he actually works at the Good Studio. But if you work at the Good Studio, basically you don't do any work, so there's loads of free time to become an esports pro.
Apparently.
Yeah, so he works at the Good Studio, and he gets a bit cocky. And I'm like, mate, you're a 35%er. And basically this is the way I sum it up to him. I'm like, Tavik, yeah? He hits 50%, you know, accuracy on all the important heroes. You know, AKM around, 50%, Wins, 45, IDDQD definitely like 45, and then you've got Johnny reinforcing like you're fucking 35%. And like you're lucky they put Reinhardt in game.
Right. Don't look at my percents. I don't even want to know.
Be a pro gamer.
Oh, that's what it was. It was the sound thing before.
Yep.
That's why we
I fixed it. Actually, I just saw a new website. It's like Master Watch or something, where you actually have your like in-depth stats.
Dude, that was awesome.
That was really cool. I looked at mine. I'm like, I didn't know I had like an 88% win rate on Genji. I didn't know I had like a 5.2 KDA. You know,
I didn't know I was this good.
But it's really cool. It's actually really cool. And I wonder how they got that information, like through Blizzard API or something like that. But it really brings like a new level to, I guess, caster analyzing a little bit.
I know they got your information. Phoned them up. Hey, mate.
They tweeted me. It's like, I noticed you haven't checked your profile yet.
No, but they're good at that. Because they tweeted me. They were like, why are you so good at Widowmaker? And I was like, I said, it's an ass thing.
You're an ass, man.
Yeah, and so they're tweeting people. And so they're like, marketing. These guys know what they're doing. And now we're talking about them.
Yeah, there you go.
Winners.
Works out. And also we get paid. Did they give you that contract? You get paid to say them? Oh. Thought you'd be better at this. No, so Hollywood's our first.
I don't even get paid to do this. The funny thing is, I actually I was like, I'll just come and do it, right? And then I was like, oh, can I? And Take's giving me a free bar. And I'm like, you're actually going to lose more money than my normal fee. It's probably not a great idea to be talking about that stuff. But anyway, first map, Matt has skipped over a little bit of the important information in terms of the bands and picks, but we do know we are on Hollywood. Sorry for maybe ranting on there. But let's get into the game. Rogue versus Graviton Surge.
Zebasai is back, of course, who was another player that was sort of picked up by Crew later on, who's played around a bit. He played in Ventus with Evoke G and Icefeld, and played with Nevix, IDDQD, and Clever, who now no longer has a team, and people thought he disappeared for a while.
I actually really like Nevix. I mean, I remember talking about him to Mandokasai, like way back in the day in the closed beta, or the first closed beta, saying he's actually a really strong aimer. It just sucks that he seems to be stuck on Lucio. But then again, Lucio at that time did really good damage. He obviously got nerfed quite a bit, so he doesn't really get to shine too much. And Zebasai, before we move on, I think he's been up over 24 hours because he missed his first fight here.
Was it because he was sleeping though?
Was it?
Yeah.
I heard he just missed it.
I don't know why he missed
slept
it, but
for
he missed
24
his
hours.
flight. So this game actually got pushed back a little bit, but it's actually on track. So this is interesting because they're actually going to be playing a Zenyatta on defense. You don't actually need a Lucio on defense here, but I'm really worried about this Zenyatta going up against the Genji played by
Soon.
So we'll have to see how that goes down. But I love the fact you've thrown a Zenyatta because you can actually solo heal this anyway as a Mercy, and then Zenyatta is actually kind of 50-50, right? So if that Reinhardt charges and is out of position, just going to get blown up. And of course, IDDQD, a lot's going to be on him, on the McCree on defense, and Tivik going to be playing the Junkrat. I'm responsible for that, by the way. Gave him that strat.
Really?
It's back in IDDQD. Yeah.
So
That's what countered like the double Reaper, double.
Yeah.
This is a 3 support lineup here for Rogue. Well, I mean, we kind of call Zenyatta a bit of a
That's my casual
semi-support.
brag, sorry.
Yeah, we all get them at some point. I guess Harrison Ford, so what up, nerds?
So Zenyatta destroys the fact that if you have a Pharah, just having a Zenyatta, it makes it so hard to play the Pharah. So I'm wondering if Wins are just going to focus that down. Tivik going to get a kill?
Actually see Crew there just getting wrecked and IDDQD coming towards him. No more Lucio for Crew. He gets to play his DPS flex role now as well. Very much a different situation for him on this team. But so far, Skipjack, Crew, and Soon are all down. And that was a res. Much of a matchness, perhaps, for Rogue now. As they
I had to watch him die. I had to watch him die. I'm sorry.
What are you doing, Johnny?
Well, either way, it's a strong hold. And like you said, a little bit interesting what the Zenyatta actually picked up, but it seems to be working for them so far. Zebasai is eventually going to fall in the back line. I was wondering if they maybe switch to Torbjorn a little bit later, but they don't really seem to be lacking any damage because they're doing a damn good job as it is.
Look at that. That Genji just completely taken out there as well. Now, Crew did manage to get AKM's teleporter off, so that's something. I think he jumped straight in towards the cafe to deal with that one. But there's an air shatter from Skipjack, and he's going to go straight on through. But follow-up, not a heck of a lot of it. He's going to get his opposite number up against the wall, and should be some follow-up there. There's the res straight away. Unco gets it, although it does go down to the barrage. And Crew, who also falls.
Oh, and they got the Skip to actually turn the shield away and reinforce to get the slam down onto multiple people, and that's going to be eventually a clean wipe coming through. The team does hold on. IDDQD will maintain this position for now.
And yeah, really big ulti. And actually, Wins is picking up kills. He actually picked up 2 kills at the back of that fight. So I'd be interested to watch Wins. He's actually one of the best aimers at the end period of Quake. So he's been kind of playing Lucio. So I think he's going to be pretty happy to play this hero, and he's going to have an ulti soon as well. So.
Nothing better to have up your sleeve than good aim when you're playing that Zenyatta. Now, both sides there, you're trying to go for Deadeyes. There's going to be a Transcendence on the point here. Care of Win is going to keep his team nice and healthy. As again, Crew forced to back away there as well. It's an Orb Harmony on Reinforced to keep him up alive. And Crew, look at this aggression coming out here as well from the attacking side. Graviton Surge, wasting no time. It's so far, they've really struggled to get it to stick. With 3 deaths now on the side of Rogue, that may just make it happen.
Ulti up. He's got the Orb still. Just wants the 1 kill, gets the Mercy. I wonder if he's going to be able to contest. Looks like Jack, no, is going to put an end to that. And it's all on IDDQD.
This is the flashbang, unfortunately. Does he get the right
nice.
click on a Zebasai? Are you kidding me? Long range? In.
Can you hit him,
What
Crew?
is going on?
Oh my
He killed
God.
Crew with 4 points of health, stays alive on the point long enough for the rest of his team to get there, and AKM is trying to get on the point. It might be a struggle here as Tivik is in trouble.
Talk about living up to your name, IDDQD.
Yeah. That was nuts. Look at this.
And they're back on the point. I can't believe this. That's such a misplay here from Graviton Surge, but they are going to throw in some kills now, and it looks like this is going to be where they're going to finally get the point. But, it's 1 minute 45 left.
Oh, they have a res, though. Unco.
Oh.
3 people.
Unco gets the res. Now everyone back on their feet. It's going to be a full hold here as well. Crew, with utility perhaps a little bit, trying to get the barrage down, but 4 kills come across quite quickly. And there's only a couple players left up standing. I think AKM, he's just trying to hold on to the point. He'll probably fall down. And I don't think IDDQD can do it twice in a row. And that first point will finally go away. But that extra time that we saw Rogue spend on that point is definitely going to come in handy later on.
Yeah, Soon's going to switch out to Widow, and AKM is going to do the same. And remember, AKM actually isn't playing on his normal mouse now, so it'd be interesting to see how confident he actually feels. Crew going a little bit aggressive, and Tivik or Tavik, sorry, as you meant to say, Fast is actually going to go onto the McCree as well. So they've got a very kind of anti-Pharah team. So that Pharah, I imagine, Crew's going to switch. If he doesn't, he's an absolute nutter. And that Sniper's also going to have a hard time. And AKM's going to pick him out of the air. Nicely done.
Seems like his mouse is fine.
He had the damage boost, I think, AKM at the time as well, which made life just that little bit easier to take down that other.
And Crew's going to do Genji.
Zebasai has been quiet till now, hasn't even been here till now, but now he's going to come forward and get some damage. Crew did make the change to Genji, but still gets shutting down by Tavik there as well. And Skipjack going for a bit of a harebrained chase on in and IDDQD, just right-click all the way to the bank, boys.
That's 5 out of 6 hits on the right-click that far away.
RNG gods
man.
trying upon him. Sometimes.
It's taken out though. But still, they've sent Graviton Surge a little bit far back. Finally, they're going to have somewhat of an advantage here with the Widow ulti, but let's see if he can pick it up. Yep, doesn't manage to get the kill onto AKM. He's going to have a really nice position, gets a second one onto Unko. So looking pretty dangerous. So you're going to have to see disengage here really from the team of Rogue, but I wonder if they have other plans. Oh, nope, no other plans, really. Going to have to die on that one.
Interesting enough, we're seeing some good stuff from Soon here. He used to be a support player and only switched to the sniper role upon a bit of motivation from Crew. He said, hey, look, it's just us two while we're trying to make this team. Why don't you just play sniper? You've got good aim. He used to play nothing but Lucio and seems to be working out so far. I have to keep our eye on him now. Is Crew going to get aggressive now as well? Looking for AKM. He's going to get the dash reset, but Soon gets the finish.
Seems like there's a little bit of snowball happening too with them getting just a little bit too aggressive, maybe challenging out when maybe they shouldn't have. Unko doesn't have res, so he's going to have to back away. Him and Tavik just can't afford to even really contest this just yet, because even Kratos, he does have ultimate up.
Yeah. I actually think they played that way too passive Rogue in the middle area, because they had 2 McCrees, but they didn't seem to want to charge in. Even though there was like a Genji and you can actually fight really well against pretty much everyone else, and it's only really your Widowmaker the Genji is going to chase down solo. You don't need to be solo. You can also play the Widowmaker on the ground in the middle. So maybe a little bit too passive. So definitely given a nice bit of advantage in terms of momentum and confidence going over to Team Graviton Surge.
Skipjack's going to press forward now as well. Does have that ultimate available, but he might be shut down a little bit too quickly. Yes, banning the hammer is going to make life a little bit harder, but here comes the res in for the defensive team. Rogue, though, they're going to have that replied by Graviton Surge. They're going to get their players up, and AKM is going to benefit from the sound barrier up above. He actually avoids getting knocked down. It was actually Reinforced who went down. He was above the ground, so we can stay up and keep doing that damage.
Soon on the backside, though. Actually, just respawning back in, going for Widowmaker this time. You see Zebasai coming back in as well, while the rest of the team is still pushing up the payload. You would assume they're going to back away, because now they're going to be on different spawns unless somehow they can actually survive this barrage that's coming at them.
AKM does have the barrage left again. Another res being popped in as well, and that's going to let Graviton Surge again come forward. AKM being shut down there as well. Soon doing some serious work. IDDQD also falls down, and now he's looking for the Mercy. Soon is on fire. He's making life very, very hard for Rogue here. This guy started off in G2 as a support player with Taimu and all the rest. Now really showing his skills as a Widow.
They might be able to finish this off too. AKM's going to go down to Zebasai. They're just trying to lay something for Rogue to do, but they just keep going down to Soon as Zebasai tag teaming him up.
Oh my.
There we go, a decently fast time after struggling on that first point. They come together in the second phase and close it out with style.
And that's actually just summed it up there. It's a really strong finish to be able to go from second and just walk into third and complete third phase. So even though the first phase went bad, I would be really nervous if I was the Rogue.
Yeah.
Honestly, Rogue's performance that game in the on the first point, fantastic, right? I think Reinforce made great stuff happen, Wince made great stuff happen. You know, those two really were a strong factor, as well as IDDQD, as we saw. And then when it got onto the middle phase, it's like, okay, you have this double McCree, and you're not, using it at a range that you could. You don't need them necessarily like both just staring at the enemy team. You can have one off in one of the rooms and actually get some flank kills, but you need to put pressure on. You need to be like, you should be scared of this. And they didn't do that. And so the sniper gets the 1 kill. They're all defensively positioned. And then the sniper played by Soon gets the 2nd kill on the Mercy. And then all of a sudden, it's a snowball effect. And you go into the final room, you've still got the sniper, but you're not playing anything like a monkey to challenge him. There was nothing on their team that challenged whatsoever. They even picked up a Pharah in the final room, which is like, okay, it's
just arrogant, actually.
It kind of worked, yeah. And so Soon again gets the 1, gets the 2, gets the 3 kills, and they finish the game. So and they've got people like Tavik that can play amazing Genji. They can even play Tracers. They can definitely put in a Winston in there. Plenty of options to kind of stop that from happening, or just play stronger and make sure you win against the enemy kind of payload team.
Do you think really the Zenyatta worked out? You talk about wins, he got some good kills. Do you think it would have been better switching to something else? I mean, all obviously they held the first point
We
for
did
such a
easy,
long
but
time.
he
Lucio.
switched. He switched to Lucio straight
Okay,
away.
okay.
But they didn't use Lucio aggressively in the mid to actually fight because they weren't like pushing into the enemy team. You know, they were relying on AKM to set the pace. But as soon as AKM got taken out on his Widow, it was done. And AKM was sniping without a Reinhardt shield. You see a lot of teams stand at the top on Hollywood behind shields. He wasn't. So it was such a risky game. So, you know, definitely a time that they can beat, and 7 minutes. So, yeah, I would be worried if I was Rogue because it's still, it's a decent time on this map. What are you smiling at, Jason?
I guess it's just a little sweet nothing's being whispered into my ear. I guess it's not you guys. Guess
No,
I'm the
not
special
me
one.
this time, sorry.
No, so, yeah, 7 minutes, definitely, I agree. It's definitely a time that's possible. I think all three of us and most people probably watching that know the teams would say Rogue is the favorite. But after that first map, you kind of have to question what was going on in their camp. Maybe they're taking things a little bit too lightly. Want to see, obviously, as this best of 5 keeps going.
This is a really nice defense lineup as well, taking the Soldier. Normally, you end up having the Soldier on defense that gets boosted a lot by the Mercy, but the Mercy is going to be busy healing. But you probably see, early boosts on the Soldier and also the Junkrat when the Mercy. And the Mercy has 2 people, 1 on each ledge, so she can actually move around quite easily if they don't pressure. And AKM is going to be on the Pharah, so I think that's AKM on the Pharah is going to have to not be on the Pharah. I mean, it's a counter to the Junkrat, but if you've got a boosted Soldier, you're not going to have a fun time.
No, that's rough stuff as well. I mean, the first 4 shots from Soldier have no recoil or no spread, so especially with damage boost, you can just wreck a Pharah down now as well. So it's 7 minutes and 3. That's the time to beat here for Rogue. Now as they're going to come forward on the attacking side, reinforce, getting zapped up there as well. A few of those symmetrical lasers being put in place. And
Can we go to the Zarya?
Yeah, he's on the Zarya, so I was saying, let's see what he does with
I
it.
just want to see his charge. Okay, he's got 40. I mean, when there's so many turrets, you want to be able to get charge early, but okay, he hasn't got it so much. Yeah.
Surprised he couldn't, maybe he couldn't have farmed some of his charge.
Yeah, exactly. That was like, why are you sending in the Reinhardt when you can actually send in, your Zarya, get some charge, get that 50 charge, then send in your Reinhardt, give the Reinhardt a shield, which is very worthwhile. And you saw them just walk in very slowly, very confused, and just get picked off. And they haven't actually, that first attack is not a real attack. They should have res on Unco now, which they do, but there's also a res on the enemy team, and it's a lot easier to get that defensive res because it's so much easier to hide behind your team than to kind of follow your team in and get the res. So already this is quite a big advantage for grab the surge.
Yeah, exactly. Graviton Surge. You said it perfectly.
Surge, yeah.
AKM even trying to launch himself into the air to maybe pick someone up, but Skipjack, he has his Ocean available, so does Reinforce. It comes down to a battle of who's going to break the other team's shield first.
Well, exactly, and I think Skipjack's going to lose out on that battle. No, the Earthshatter comes down. I thought he had a block, but he dropped his shield at the last moment. He's going to get pinned up against the box here, and Reinforce now is going to start the party up on this point. There's a bit of a shield as well given out from that Zarya, as Tavik does have Graviton Surge available as well. He may not even need it at this stage, as he wants to try and duel out soon on that Soldier 76 and gain further control at this point. As Zebasai, no chance, Wind's going to shut him down. The TP going to get destroyed. Someone snuck through there, but it was just the Mercy.
Just sneaking through to their death, most likely here. Civic is still not being dealt with. His charge still relatively low at about 50. As he's chasing the Soldier and the Mercy back, but the point is still being captured eventually. They will get control of it after a couple of minutes of time passing here. And Civic's got to be a little bit careful. Only 170 health, but I think that was IDDQD there to back him up. And now they're poising for this control over the Saloon.
Yep, and now we're going to see Skipjack actually going on the Winston. There's going to be no Reinhardt. Crew's going to switch to the Genji. Soon it's going to go on the Widow. And I like this defensive lineup more than what what Rogue played in the middle. But really nice play to get that ulti off. And we're going to see Skipjack already pick up a kill on Tavik. But the ulti that Reinforce, the Reinhardt hit, I actually think he managed to hit that because they timed. It looked like I'm not sure if
Can the damage take the shield down and then?
I think they were timing trying to flash, so he actually was blocking up because he was worried about IDD QD, and they would time that. So you time the flash so the shield goes up and then you actually hit. But not sure if that was or wasn't the case, but I felt it might have been.
And an overhead Pharah can create the same problem for a Reinhardt player. It's like, do you protect against the rockets coming in or the inevitable Earthshatter that's going to be under your feet now? So Crew going to be back on that Genji here as well, and so far pretty darn good for Graviton Surge on this defensive side.
Missing like everything.
AKM clearly not bothered by Crew, and fair enough here. He gets cleaned up by the McCree squad.
Even IDDQD pushing up here, trying to continue this pace of the payload. We're only about 3 minutes and 30 seconds in, so they still have quite a lot of time to work with, and we haven't really seen a solid defense, past the initial first point. It seems like they've given up this entire Wild Wild West set area over to the team.
And I think they should start playing waste time now. I think that this team should be able to break through. You want to play lineups that waste time. Winston's really good at that, but it's okay if they just push to tier 2. If you just, if you don't even I wouldn't even consider like contesting in this position because it's so dangerous. And even standing that close is going to get you killed. Crew's going to be behind him on his Genji.
Yeah, what can you do? He gets one with the the Dragon Blade, then eventually does go down. That was a beautiful flashbang I think we just saw earlier on there by Tvik, or IDDQD it was. He predicted that it would be a Widowmaker around the corner, and he bounced the flash off the wall and he nailed it. So brilliant stuff here. And now the ball's starting to get rolling. You can see them really starting to build up some momentum here as well. That's definitely important for a team like this now. Crew's going to go down, a lot of them on fire, and it's going to be a full wipe.
So 4.5 minutes, so 2.5 minutes left to push through. They really have to be worried, Graviton Surge, and nice pick up there onto Skipjack, but they have to be worried now. And Rogue, really nice, getting the kills, pushing a little bit aggressive with what they can afford to push aggressive on, which is normally, one of the DPS, and AKM getting in offensive positions also. So the lineups now that we're going to see, Crew's going to switch off the Genji, he's going to go onto Zarya, that's going to help a ton, but they're still playing that double McCree, so it's still a risky thing. Like, you know, having McCree's versus McCree's, it really isn't like a overly stable for either team. It can go really heavily in one or the other's favor.
Zebasai, that was a crucial flashbang too, because that could have been 3 people going down the defensive side of Graviton Surge. Ends up saving that, killing IDDQD. Then the rest of his team is under attack here as Crew's gonna fall. Nevix is one of the few remaining people. Kratos doesn't have revive up just yet. I don't know exactly where he's running. He's trying to be in position for a good revive, but he still doesn't have it up.
Trying to delay the cart just a little bit.
We're going to see IDDQD come back now as well. On the attacking side, they're looking inexorable at this stage. When you see a lone Genji just trying to, lone Lucio just trying to stand on the payload, you know he's going to be in a spot of trouble there as well. Flashbang not hitting the Tracer? Okay, bro, no worries. He still goes down anyway. Now Zebasai, it is the Diva spam coming out there. Great little heal from Kratos, going to keep his team alive for now, but IDDQD was trying to channel that Deadeye to slow it down. He gets taken out before he can let it go.
Oh, AKM, he's not going to go down to this one. The payload's going to continue to push. No, Crew's going to be there to help defend this one. Another high noon's going off. I think this time it was out of Tvik, who eventually does pick up a kill or two. And the last remaining man's going to be there, but the time isn't in their favor. And Rogue will pick up map 1. Damage comes first.
Yeah.
So you can break the shield with the Earth Shatter and then stun him after.
Or, I think that's what happened?
I think that's what happened, but I don't know.
I don't
know if that works that way.
No, because I think if you break the shield, then that's it. That's all the damage. Like, you don't get any more.
No, but the stun comes down after it. So you break the shield with your damage, he's the one that gets hit with it, and then the stun hits everyone else. I don't know.
I don't know how that works. I don't know if there is a shield. I don't know if it blocks everything, even if it all of that, even if it breaks, because it's like technically it's a continuous projectile, right? It's not it's not a projectile. It's a continuous wave that goes out. So.
I mean, even if we ask like the pros behind
they
us,
won't
they wouldn't know because they're like, who plays Reinhardt?
What's Earth Shatter?
And the Reinhardt guy's sitting there all the drooling out of one side of his mouth.
No.
I remember in LCS when we were casting that, we would talk to the player.
That's
not
like
leading
2
rockets. A couple good moments there. So IDDQD.
So they did get aggressive there, but they didn't get aggressive to the point that you were saying.
But they should be
chasing back.
They should be like chasing. They really should be just like, let's engage, let's go, let's win. You know, and actually just going with Lucio. Crew's Genji, he's actually been training it like for the last, as soon as the game came up, he's played more Genji than any other hero. And his Genji's really good, but I felt here it was kind of hit and miss. The biggest problem with Genji right now, it's just the damage, the drop off of the damage is too big.
That's the only way they could justify increasing his health from 150 to 200 again, was nerf the shuriken damage by what, like 20%? Or something like that?
Yeah. And I'm not sure if it, who knows if it was the right change, but you saw at the end, you saw it at part of the game when the Genji was just staring at the Widowmaker, AKM, Crew was, attacking it, and it was just had one mercy, and you're like, okay, I can't do anything. It's a Genji. And he actually just like went to run away and ended up dying. So it's, if you can't get on the mercy or get onto a solo player, it's quite a hard game. But overall, I still see a lot more potential from Graviton Surge in that game than what they showed. I felt that their defense, they really should have just been like, look guys, we're probably going to lose this map at one point. We need to make it really, really difficult. I feel like, they should have maybe attacked, when they did on the second checkpoint when Rogue were attacking, but they also got their sniper picked off. Their sniper had to stand, and it's like, you have to play, if you're going to play like you need to attack, you're going to have to play around res, and they didn't do that very well on the second checkpoint. They did that quite well on the first checkpoint. They got a really nice res off, which delayed it. And then at the end, they should have actually brought out like stuff like one Tracer earlier, and they should have brought out, in my opinion, a Winston, because a Tracer on defense, I think, will actually be like more of a thing in the future, because it's so... You do so much damage. You can actually, you don't need to be like spamming anymore, because people are so good at positioning that you often don't give your opponent's shots until you want them in a position. You know, it's like in Hollywood, it's like you choose when you can fight on defense, and a lot of defense matches. So I think Tracer's going to be could be a really good defensive character on payload. The main reason is because obviously movement, you just can go. You're moving in and you're playing aggressive. I'm taking out your Mercy. Now you haven't got a res, and that wins you payload, you know, fights a lot of the time, because you do need a res often to try and get through all the spam from a Junkrat and, you know, the McCree damage. So yeah, we'll have to see what they're going to do on next map. 1-0. I've talked a lot. Don't know why. 1-0 to Rogue. I'm going into Gibraltar.
I'm just curious, like, if Crew... So he left Melty because he wanted to play damage dealer and, you know, drama aside, he wanted to play damage dealer instead of playing like a Lucio or whatever, or kind of a flexible for that. Do you think he's good enough to make a team around him like this, where he's a guaranteed DPS player?
Really good when he's good. And when he's not so good. He's unstable, basically, is what I'm saying. He's played more games than anybody, but his performances on his DPS classes, they're either amazing or they're somewhat unstable. And I actually prefer him on stuff like Pharah and Junkrat, because he's quite, I would say he's really good at positioning, but it's also when it comes to executing on, you know, certain heroes that are like slightly more aim heavy, I feel that I've seen other DPS players perform better than Crew. But was he playing on this on defense? Yeah, he's playing Soldier, but he's pretty much good on every hero anyway, you know. But it's just, if you give him something where you can super shine or not, you don't know. So his Genji, you don't know if it's going to be great or not.
Well, do you think they have someone on their team that can super shine, like a Tavik, like a Mendo, something like that? A Nico?
Zebasai is very good. Zebasai, I think he's a very strong player.
We saw him actually playing quite a bit of Pharah in one of the previous tournaments that we casted, and he was actually shined pretty well.
All right, well, here we go. It's going to be this time around Rogue attacking. First time on Gibraltar. It's going to be double Widowmaker here as well. Defense set up for Graviton Surge. Soon, who was just sick on Hollywood. Unfortunately, it didn't really pay off for his team. And then Zebasai as well will be on that one here.
These shots are not easy to hit. Especially the payload moving in front of you.
Test this at all.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like most teams don't even bother to do it. They just let this point go, and then once either they drop in behind them or in front of them, and then they engage, because you don't want to give up this checkpoint for free.
Okay, and picks up
taking out one of the snipers, yeah. Here's the thing, it's almost like a race to ultimates when you play the snipers in this situation. Of course you want to get the kills, but assuming that you're not going to break it first time, if you're the sniper that gets the first ultimate, it's so useful in terms of breaking. And we now have an ultimate up, so we'll see if they're able to use it well.
There it is, straight out the bat. Like AKM fell to Zebasai.
And now what happens, because you've got two snipers, the other sniper can actually start building the ultimate. So soon you're going to have Soon with an ultimate as well. But we'll see what happens if they can keep pushing.
There it is.
Good pressure.
I feel like these Widowmakers are taking chunks out of Rogue as they come forward, but they're not really cutting them off. You know, they're getting a couple kills here and there, but the rest of the team, it almost seemed like struggled a bit. Now, maybe starting to see Skipjack, he gets his chance to jump forward, but they reached the checkpoint here as well, which I kind of find strange. I feel like they would have wanted them to stop Rogue far shorter than this.
Well, they still have Buddha's ultimate up now as well. As soon as they're able to hold on to it long enough, that Zebasai is now going to have it available once he gets at least one more shot off, or one more connection. And you're going to see the enemy team, you know, for Rogue respecting this. They're backing off. They're being very careful. Soon's going to respawn back in just a few seconds. Tavik trying to chase this one down, and he gets the kill as well as Zebasai.
Good to see Tavik on a bit of Genji stuff as well. We saw him on Zarya, maybe weren't super convinced about it, but we know what the guy can do on those really DPS-heavy heroes now. AKM, always dueling with Soon, always. And yeah, Crew's playing Bastion. Yeah, it's a thing. I mean, but this needs to be responded to, right? The Bastion is the response to the double Winston that we see. That's why you pick up the Bastion.
And now they've gone for the Genji on Tavik, which is actually a counter to so many of their heroes. So, but you've got two Winstons now on defense, so they're just going to be throwing themselves at them. Yep. It's quite an interesting lineup for defense.
Yeah,
it's going to be weird to get through. Like, I mean, that sniper's going to have such a hard time, AKM.
I'm not sure how I feel about the Bastion. You play Bastion into double Winston, but as soon as they change to Genji, maybe it's not such a strong pick anymore. And you've got, Widowmaker, you do have the Genji up there as well. We'll see if it works out. Nevix is going to go in anyway. Now the beat is dropped. That's a sound barrier down, and Crew's trying to set up to receive this push here. But we don't even know if Rogue's going to get there at this stage. It's going to be a Shatter there as well, and Reinforcer going to be able to charge on in there. Crew got caught by Tavik, and that's why it's kind of not working out. And that man is still running a rampage. He's looking again for Crew, who got rezzed and got again killed by the Genji. Tavik manages to pick up Mercy as well, and that's a done and dusted fight.
Little team wipe there too. Great job.
Say, yeah, Reinforce playing an absolute stellar Reinhardt so far.
Yeah.
I think the first point, the fact that we were like, oh my god, they got 2 Widows, they're going to take so much damage. But actually, they used the shield well. Reinforce played really smart on his Reinhardt, and even then in that room, he ended up being such a huge factor in the contribution to winning the fight. So the final fight to try and defend the payload from reaching the next point, Skipjack unfortunately misses his charge.
So yeah, Soon not able to interrupt the res there as well. And Tavik going to take him out. That's Genji on Genji action. And Tavik definitely seems to have the better edge in this matchup, considering how much sniping we've generally just seen Soon do. Tavik feels right at home here and decent time getting through the hangar slowly but surely. You can see how fast they are. They just reached the doors there as well. So that's hangar phase done. And I'd have to say, Reinforce setting up an amazing fight, and also Tavik just being a constant nuisance in the backlines. Got him to this point.
So aggressive out of Tavik too, to go in when he knew there's potentially a flashbang and he knew that the McCree was attacking, had a mercy fall in him. Either way, they do force him back, and Zebasai, I think he's actually behind Rogue.
We've got double Genji as well. Soon and Crew playing double Genji. We'll see how this works out, but we're going to see a high noon, and it's not even going to get off. And in come the Genjis, and honestly their damage isn't that high. They might not be a factor, even though there's 2 of them. As long as you play as a team and just back off and you've got heals, they're not much of a factor, so they can continue to push this payload if they want to, even though there's a Genji behind them. I'm really not sure. The double Genji, I mean, I'm really not sure what they want out of it.
That was my question to you. I mean, who they're trying to pick off? Sure, Mercy's always a given, but that's not always easy to do without Dragon Blade, as it's kind of being illustrated here. Mercy can avoid him to a great degree, but Kratos is down. He's the sub-stand in here, and Tavik's still able to swing that blade. And eventually does get taken down, but does a lot of work. Crew, though, as well. It's all about the Genjis right now, and it is a wipe.
If Unco didn't die there, they would have had like a guaranteed win, because Kratos was killed immediately pretty much by Tavik before anyone's even killed, so he didn't have a chance to use an ultimate. But I don't know how Unco actually got caught. Was it an Earth Shatter, or either way, if he survived that, I think that could have been the end of the game.
Yeah, and now we've got 2 reses on both of the Mercies, and we've actually just got the 1 Genji now, and you can see the Genji's ultimate from both Tavik and Crew being a huge factor into actually getting kills in those last fights. But of course, yeah, it was left down to the Mercy, and unfortunately he wasn't able to get the res, so Crew is actually going to get a kill onto AKM, and that's going to set the momentum in the favor of the defense of Graviton Surge. And they're even going to pick up Reinforce. So everyone's going to have to back off. And so far, final point, Graviton Surge actually looking really, really good. I wonder what the answers, if they're going to look for answers. They're still not bringing out someone like a Winston here. And Tivik still playing his Genji.
I feel like for Gibraltar, though, this is still a pretty decent pace that has been set by Rogue. I mean, 5.5 minutes still left.
Decent so far, but you can get stopped here. This is like one of the hardest choke points to actually take, just because you're fighting uphill. I know it sounds silly,
you go out
but
into like a cul-de-sac as well.
Exactly. So here soon on Sniper, looking for AKM.
Soon, don't know what he was hoping for there. A bit of RNG gods with the SMG fire across the map here, but RDDQD gets 2, and he might be continuing.
Well, he's going to get another one, at least with the help of that. The Earthshards is command Skipjack, but where's his backup? It's just basically him against the world at this rate. Everyone's going to focus him down. They're finally going to get some progress, and we need to see Graviton Surge come up with something. They're finally going to get people back alive, going back with the double Genji, Crew, and Soon together, but Soon's immediately dispatched of. It's just up to Nevix. He needs to use that Sunbear relatively soon to get them out of this position to even stop the payload from coming.
Yeah, it's going to be a complete lockdown. He's going to come forward. Speed boost and sound barrier. This could be the last stand for Graviton Surge on this particular half. Like you said, res is available. Kratos doesn't have it, so the attack team have a massive advantage. But no, the Mercy is off the map here, and it's just Tavik and AKM. They're going to back away here. There's, well, at least for a moment, perhaps, looks like they aren't stopped there, and Kratos goes down. He didn't have the res anyway. Unco can always bring it up, so you can see Rogue weren't really going to stop.
Unco's got a while to run, though, but as long as they just delay, they're going to have the opportunity, like I said, to be revived. It's just up to Crew and Soon to finally dispatch them. Somehow, Tavik is still alive. Unco, where's he at? Is he even close enough? No, they're just going to back off.
Yeah, had he not been picked off early in that fight from Genji, even if that fight went moderately okay, the resing 2 to 3 people could have been the end of the game, because there wasn't a res and there still isn't a res on the team of Graviton Surge. So now there will be in the next fight. So again, yeah, Rogue are finding themselves a little bit in a tough situation, and this is not going to be great. And
look at Unco again. He's out of position, I'd say. I mean, he dodged the Deadeye, but he wasn't with his team if they did get engaged on. That could have been really risky for him.
Well, now we're going to see the fight go down as well. Reinforce does get the Earth Shatter as well. Fire Strike to follow up. Skipjack feels his hammer, and Kratos straight on in.
Again, Unco dies. He gets taken out by Zebasai on the top side, and they're not going to have a revive for this next part of the fight. Now, IDDQD is going to go down while he's popping that Deadeye. The rest of the team should be falling as well, but somehow Tavik is still alive in the backside. They pick up the kills, and this might be the end of the game.
The Dragonblade still available for Tavik, so he can always clean up if he needs to there as well. just dealing with a Tracer at this stage. You know what Crew can do with that hero. But again, a little bit too late. We're talking about defensive Tracer, maybe a better option here, but it's actually enough. The little stall just had to be a little bit because there was only Tivik on that payload. And now Skipjack gets forward.
But we should point out now, even though Unco did die early in the last fight, he's the one that has res up this time. So, you know, it's up to Kratos. Is he going to let his teammates take some damage to heal it up to match him?
Yeah, we'll have to see what's going to happen. But they got some really good defensive ultimates ready. Reinforce doesn't have his ultimate yet, and Skipjack having his, that's an ultimate that wins you fights on defense.
How did Reinforce, did he just get charged by Skipjack?
They forced the res just for Reinforce. They had to use it just on him, otherwise they're going to lose the fight, no doubt about it. And still, Graviton Surge are winning this in numbers. AKM at least gets away from that kill. Skipjack has already fallen, but Zevasai cleans up IDDQD, and this man, the Frenchman, just has to give ground.
Kratos, though, he's now going to have res advantage for this one. Obviously, sent at 90%. They're trying to group up. So James, if you're in this situation, if you're in like the comms with Rogue, what would you say for them to do a little bit differently? Because AKM, he's now switched to the Monkey.
Personally, I would start thinking of playing stuff like Zarya and having a Monkey in earlier. If you're going to fight on payload to win, then you go in with stuff that actually gives you sustain. I still wouldn't have removed the Sniper. I think Sniper's fantastic on this final point, but they're going to go in. They're going to use the Ultima and Reinforce, and there is a great res though. See if they're able to turn it now on the defensive team. Zebasai looking to try and pick up Tivik, missing 3-4 shots, and then finally getting Reflect. And Unco is actually going to finally get off the res that he's wanted.
It was only onto one, unfortunately. I think it was just on the Reinforce yet again. This is the second time we've seen him use it just for their tank player, but it doesn't matter. It seems like it's been enough here. Again, Kratos trying to come in. Finally, Rogue do close it out. Yeah, it took him a long time. You got to give credit to Graviton Surge for really coming together when things looked really grim.
We said they were setting a cracking pace, Rogue that is, and we also did say it was decided that, yeah, still this last area is a very nasty choke point. So Crew with some good play there as well. It turned into Mercy Watch a little bit towards the end there. You can see how impactful that ult is in terms of in that fight. And, you know, you can see Unco's ult towards the end was forced because Reinforce got picked off by a Deadeye. Mistakes like that can be costly, but Rogue were able to get there in the end. 9 minutes 27 though, that's a much more blown out result than what we were seeing earlier on.
And I like the change at the end that they did with the Monkey. It just buys a lot of space, actually, mainly for your Mercy. That's what you're kind of like looking for. It's like, sure, it's space for your team. You know, you've got a shield. Sure, you can be picked off by a McCree if you, you know, get a little bit unfortunate or get outplayed. But just having that factor that there's a Monkey in the middle of your team that needs to be dealt with means that, like, not everyone is then like, oh, we can actually kind of ignore the Reinhardt. We can, you know, there's a McCree over there, but we're, you know, take that as we go. Let's make sure this, you know, Mercy, you know, gets taken out. And so that's Monkey's fantastic for that. So I think Monkey on final point on Gibraltar has always been a hero that, yeah, should have been played. And I also think Zarya as well is very strong in the kind of similar aspect. And, yeah, but they get it. What was the time? It was 9:26.
I mean, so many Mercy players struggle as well. This is the tough part. It's like, do I get behind the Reinhardt shield and protect myself from Deadeye, or do I get away from the Reinhardt shield and prepare to come in for a res? And that's what we almost saw. I think, Unco getting caught there because he looked like he was going wide into the room to get cover. He almost got spotted out by the Deadeye there as well. So that's also something you're going to juggle as a Mercy player. You can't be in the fight, but you also need protection from Reinhardt shield.
I don't actually know why he went on the high ground. Was it to just avoid anyone on the ground getting to him? I mean, it's a Genji. You're not going to really get away from him.
Yeah, but even if a Genji comes up to you and your team is in front of you and you're high ground, you can actually just, you know, you can just drop down to him and get over to him and get a res off, right? So as long as you're hidden. So I don't think there was anything really wrong with Unco in that situation. I just found like, yeah, he was maybe even getting unfortunate, but you have to give credit to Graviton Surge. That was a fantastic final hold for them. Interesting to see what they can do on offense here. We've got a pretty standard lineup. I'm surprised actually the only one, yeah, I was about to say Tivik was on Junkrat for a moment, but he's gone back to Soldier. So this is kind of the lineup that just helps you sustain and defend high ground. You know, your second checkpoint, kind of where the AKM is, etc. They got to worry for jumping monkeys. Jumping monkeys are an absolute pain on this map, and it's actually going to be 2 jumping monkeys and 2 Genjis. With just 1 healer and Zebasai backing it up with sniping. So this can go really well or really bad as a lineup when you're attacking.
I'll be interested to see what Rogue have to deal with the double Winston coming in here as well. I mean, this is very Melty-esque though. We were seeing a very similar lineup with Melty, but that's AKM. Great start. Already gets a shot towards Zebasai.
This is really good of AKM. A lot of snipers might stand by the blue kind of crate just to get some earlier picks. Actually, just making sure you're stood really far back. kind of nullifies the monkeys somewhat, the Winstons, because they can't just jump on you, and even it's hard for the Genjis to get there. So good positioning, but they are, of course, going to just be able to easily push the payload into the first checkpoint. It's almost there. And then this is where the real test comes. So even though they lost Zebasai, it didn't matter that much, and AKM still doesn't have ulti. So the execution... Oh, okay, it does matter. So the execution now is what's going to be important for the offensive team of Graviton Surge.
It's the second time now as well that Graviton Surge have lost their Widowmaker within seconds of her leaving her spawn here. Still the double monkey causing some problems elsewhere on the map, and although AKM has been able to deal with Skipjack, you see Kratos and Nevix actually getting involved and getting their hands dirty in this one. AKM's in a position now where we can disrupt, but probably not dismantle this push from Graviton Surge, and they should be able to get the payload to this checkpoint.
Surprised that was so easy. I mean, we kind of watched the fight.
We didn't get to see
we watched the fight in the shuttle, but you know, Tivik didn't actually get his ulti at the end of that, so it didn't look like it went very well against the Genjis and the one monkey that they were up against. So that's a really good...
doing there. Just kind of went in by himself. I mean, he spotted them out, yes. Somehow he escaped with his life. I would have guessed he would have been taken down. Reinforced, I think you got me
Oh, God.
Unfortunately missing that, but now the first monkey is going to be going in. It's going to force Zebasai back yet again. He somehow jukes as it's a monkey versus monkey battle. The rest of the team, though, in the meantime, is fighting over the hangar.
Well, that's IDDQ there trying to desperately throw the flash before he gets cut down, but no, he's going to at least have a res though and get himself back on his feet. And it's going to be a Dragon Blade here being pulled out for a lot of the Genjis on the map. It's hard to keep track of, but Soon had one out there as well. Yeah. Oh, not good enough though. The tactical visor for Tivik is going to be able to cut him down. Don't need aim for that one, just need to be looking at him.
Being chased down by the monkeys, probably one of the worst ways to die, knowing there's nothing you can really do about it. AKM is just trying to, I guess, build up some ult charge here, knowing they're not going to kill him with just these two alone, but he's just feeding them ultimates. I'm not sure exactly why Skipjack's stuck there, because the payload wasn't even close to actually crossing that line.
Yeah, giving away a monkey. And also that was 2 Dragon Blades used back-to-back on the offense from Crew and Soon. So these Genjis not going to have that kind of killing power that they bring with the ultimate for a little while. And it means that if they get the high ground defense... hello, Tivik, there's a bad guy behind you. Run. Okay, see, as soon as you get a Mercy, it's like, it doesn't even matter anymore. So that's kind of embarrassing, but...
Trying to deflect lightning is also even more futile than what he was trying to do there. But, I mean, these Genjis, they need to work at medium to longer range. I guess charge up their Dragon Blades and wait for another chance to go in. But, yeah, a bit unfortunate for Soon. He was sort of using the right click, fanning them out, instead of maybe using the left click, which may have guaranteed him a bit more accuracy, but he was strafing. That may have been the issue.
Can we watch Zebasai in the next fight, if that's okay? He should be really important because he's uncontested. Like, this guy should just be able to go ham, but it really depends on his team, and it's just like one monkey that can come on him. Where's his Mercy? Doesn't have one, therefore he will die. So he is actually now contested. I did forget about AKM actually picking up the monkey.
He got back in actually for the sound barrier there too, and ends up saving his life because he didn't want to pop his Primal Rage. Maybe save it for the next one. Nevix now going to be forced back to his own spawn. And it looks like Soon has been able to join in just the nick of time, but honestly, they're going to need more than just that. Finally push this point down.
AKM missed the Q on his ult as well. I don't know if he wanted to use Primal Rage there and maybe actually force back for a little bit longer.
I'd say you want to save it, right?
Possibly.
Because he jumped back into a sound barrier and then eventually he did die, but having an extra monkey ultimate up, or also in general when they knew they won the fight, maybe is the advantage they need, or maybe they feel confident in it.
They have so many ultis, by the way, on Rogue. There should be a win for them just based off how many ultis they entered the fight with. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't. So we really got to look for the Mercy res, and not going to happen because he doesn't have one.
Right. I mean, we'll see them come back in now to this one. Like you said, fairly comfortable fight 1 for Rogue. And actually, they still have 3 ultimates to work with here. And most importantly, Unco has res available. There's also an Earth Shatter for Reinforce, who's actually had a really good couple of games now. We were talking about him in the last half as well. The second one, he's been doing his job, but we definitely got to see a couple of those hero plays out from him. 35% or not, definitely making an impact across the map.
So I love this defense. Now they're actually on top of the shuttle, and they're coming in with 2 McCrees. So the McCrees are even more useless on the offense, and you still have a soldier that can do a shit ton of damage from on top of the shuttle because you don't have drop-off damage. So I actually told them that they should start doing this before... like the other day, IDDQD was like, it's ingenious, you stand on the shuttle. Other teams are doing it, by the way. But IDDQD was like, wow, yes, we should all get on top of the shuttle. And then you just have a chance of dropping down. And you don't need to drop all the way onto the floor, but you can if you want to. So good positioning, but they've already lost their Reinhardt reinforcement.
They lost
so
Kratos. On the other side.
A bunch of kills, yeah.
And Crew there just pulled up short on his dash, so he's left in mid-air swinging his sword for a little while. That's generally bad news for a Genji. You do need to measure out your dashes well enough. because you need to get the kill to reset it for the next either evasive.
They didn't use Earth Shatter or Primal Rage in that fight.
Yeah, no, they don't have to. They have positioning.
Yeah.
So this is the thing, right? I told him as soon as you win the fight, run back up on the shuttle, because it's even if they have a Widowmaker, it actually removes one angle from the Widowmaker where you stand on the ledge, and you actually make the Widowmaker even more useless. And you can choose who you drop on, right? So you have a huge advantage. So this room, in my opinion, is extremely broken on defense when it's played well. But we'll have to see what they can do. Lucy ulti going to go down for the team of Graviton on the Surge. Zebasai trying to handle the monkey of AKM, but unable to do so. But Skipjack actually picking up 3 kills back to back. And soon got to join in and get one as well.
It's a really nice Deadeye as well coming up from Soon. He picked up Reinforce and wins there. So 2 crucial players.
Can the revive get there in time? That's the real question.
Ooh, that's the longest jump I've ever seen.
He only got, oh, he did get 2, okay.
2 max, I think. It was either 2 behind him or 2 in front, so he had to sort of pick there as well. That's a split-second decision-making you got to make there. Sound Barrier coming down here for Rogue, who is still holding on really nicely. Soon just sort of spawn back in, and he's going to be forced down into the catacombs. That's probably dealt with.
Just punched to Jeff.
Thump. Yeah, so again, they can... Genji going to get a reflect.
Just hate to see that happen.
There's a McCree main that hurts me in my soul.
Nice position from Crew. He's almost got his ulti. Oh, almost falls down. Going to climb back up. This can be good. This can be they can actually, just having Crew in this position, can actually just help him take this. But he's going to have to run away already. But he can push the cart a little bit. Why is he not pushing the cart? He can force people to drop. Okay. Yeah. Doesn't want to.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's no reason for Rogue to come down right now. They have a shield. They're able to just take pot shots from long range. They've got their Winstons doing work. They've got Vic having ultimate whenever he needs it. The last time he had it as well, it was a bloodbath. This guy can just completely shut down Graviton Surge. Because from that high up, you can jump in behind the Reinhardt if they're pushed up far enough to try and get to the payload and smash their backline.
Oh, up to the shuttle again.
Wins, wash, and repeat. 7 minutes in, too, so it's not like they have a lot of time left to work with here. They need to make something happen. They tried changing the comps around, but it's just not working.
I think they still need that Widowmaker. Widowmaker's so good. And when you drop down, you're not going to drop down behind the shield together, right? So a Widowmaker will get some moments, but the Widowmaker was kind of scared because of the monkey was getting kills, but then you just put the Mercy with the Widowmaker. You don't need the Mercy with your team necessarily. You still have a Lucio healing on offense, but so far they've made it all the way to the cart, but there's going to be a defensive res, and IDDQD is going to pick up the kill onto Crew.
3 kills for himself there, man, in that little passage of time. And Vic again continuing to chime in. Zebasai just misjudging the range on his flash grenade there, dropping a little bit short. He's not able to get the stun. And Vic gets a new lease on life twice in a row. Okay, somebody stop this man, please. A lot of damage being done now, and he can just continue to harass Skipjack from behind, especially when there are threats for that Reinhardt to deal with in front.
It's nice to see AKM playing a flex like this, though, because you typically, or at least we've typically seen him as a damage roll.
Guys, they're looking for solutions. Free McCrees.
Oh, no.
We need more McCrees.
3 McCrees, 2 Winstons, right?
Someone was saying to me earlier today that, no, it was Experiment that actually played against Melty and Scrims with 6 McCrees just to see how it went.
I'd imagine not well. And they don't really have time to finish anyways. I mean, we can pretty much call it here. They have less than a minute to go. They have 20 seconds in the game. 2 Lucios, 3 McCrees.
I mean, they were stumped. They were really just... I think there was a little bit of, I wouldn't say luck, but Rogue definitely had some moments where this shuttle room could have got away from them.
Sure.
But afterwards, when they got control, it looked kind of okay on the mid-level. When they went on top of the shuttle, it was even better. And Tivik has been absolutely insane on his soldier in this room. His damage output, I'm sure he's probably the top damage of the game here, probably followed by IDDQD, as you would imagine, if they're the winning team on defense. But yeah, it's that defense. I mean, you need to actually throw people up there. You can actually... I've seen people play like 2 monkeys and just jump up, but it is quite dangerous because the Mercy can stand right at the back of the shuttle and actually still boost and heal the McCrees. Right. And they can actually, even if you drop shields when you're jumping, they fall straight down, right? So you can actually still hit like your Deadeye. You can still get a shit ton of damage on.
What about like a Primal Rage? If you save them up, you get up there, you knock them off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would have been fine.
Well, sometimes you see TV used for the same thing.
And I still felt that they needed to keep the Widow. They really needed to keep the Widow. And
well, he had the opportunities of a side playing the Widow earlier on when they were starting to attack the point when they were first really successful, but he just wasn't hitting the shots.
Yeah, I mean, why switch off it because you got killed by a monkey once? You've got a Mercy. Babysit the Widow. It's okay to babysit the Widow because the chances are, if your payload team dies and you're babysitting the Widow, you can still dive in and potentially get a res off. And your Widowmaker, if the fight's really chaotic, if everyone's up top, right, and they have to drop, and you've got a Widowmaker, there's a chance that when everyone's dropping, there's a Mercy that's got to drop too,
Yeah.
right? Of course, you can play a Mercy on the shuttle. You can just stick it in the middle of the shuttle when everyone's above you or around you.
Yep.
You could be like, I'm just sat here because I'm
Just
waiting
a
to
res
res.
bot, yep.
Yeah, and but normally you would expect that you'd have a couple of shots available on the Mercy. So
she's Guardian. Well, it's a slow descent for her as well. She doesn't drop like anyone else if you choose.
yeah.
So
and if they were going to play the payload push, where they're like, all right, you're going to drop on us, that's fine, but we're actually just going to push the ground floor. You need stuff that has way more sustain than they had. Like even Hog is viable in the end of that.
What about a Soldier on top of the payload with the biotic field? Soldier's maybe a little bit too squishy
Cool
with the
down
biotic
line
field
as well.
healing. Well, so is Roadhog, but
yeah.
you can AoE heal with this
Yeah.
at least.
But yeah, I definitely think it's, if everyone's dropping and they've got burst damage, you just need a way to counter some of that burst on the McCree. So you've got your own McCree, but then you've got a shield from Zarya and they don't, and you're like, okay. And you can, if you position yourself well when you're going through the bottom of the shuttle room, you make it so that everyone eventually will have to drop.
Right.
And they might not always get the best drops. Soldier might be out of position, and McCree.
That's the risk that teams take as well. When you see this drop, and we also see teams actually avoiding doing this on maps like Dorado. Defensive teams setting up on the high ground and actually just leaping down, either on the first point and also around the church. Now we don't see it as often because there's a risk involved. You're actually going for a fight, and everyone's jumping down, and you can get sniped on the way down, or you just might not have all the pieces.
I still think it's the strongest, one of the strongest ways to defend at the moment, though.
Right.
Like I really do. But you are right. There is moments where you expose some weakness when you actually do go for the drop, but no one's exploiting it yet.
Right.
No one's really exploiting it properly. The best way to kind of exploit that is really try and get someone on their Mercy, in my opinion, because the drop's going to happen and it's going to be messy, right? But you need to make sure that you can handle the Mercy so they don't have that res, which is just going to be easy for them to pick off. And Zebasai switching off the sniper in that instance, I felt was that, and the fact that Crew really never ended up getting the Mercy.
It's true.
He struggled.
It's true.
Yeah, he didn't have his best game as well. So it's now going to be 2-0 to Rogue.
Yep.
Going into what is going to be the third and final map, and we are going to see a King of the Hill. Huh?
Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, I like this.
So, and it's going to be the observatory stage as well, which is a really interesting part of Lijiang Tower, actually. Some of the map features are quite fascinating. We'll show you those in a sec. I mean, this is it here as well. To the left, you can actually see that platform up high as well. I mean, super exploitable, especially in pub games for McCrees who like to go up there and use that Deadeye as well. But most of the fighting happens in this central room down here, this atrium.
Yeah.
And there's some barriers there as well. There's also other ways of entering.
Not enough barriers anymore, which is weird because before it was really strong for Tracer.
Yeah.
They've picked up 2 Tracers on the Rogue, and I don't think 2 Tracers is necessarily a good pickup. I actually think Soldier is fantastic on this map now. You can actually control the outside, and you can make sure that you can help other people get their kills, because a Soldier doing a lot of damage can just be like, hey, I see you're attacking that person, I can always basically help you. So the double Tracer, this is interesting, but IDDQD loves Tracer, so does AKM. Tavik playing the Zarya to help him, I'm not sure how good of a factor that is, and I actually think the lineup potentially is a little bit stronger on Graviton Surge, so they might actually surprise here if the Tracers don't do their jobs.
Zebasai's actually saved a little bit by the help of his teammates, especially with the Zarya coming through to skipjack. He's even going for the reload, but they're trying to, try to get this high ground position on them, and yet Zebasai's feeling comfortable to just rush straight through, get the kill into Vic, and look for more.
What are the Tracers doing? Like nothing. They get 1 kill. But yeah, this
Staying
is
alive
this is,
for now. That's it.
But it's not an area that necessarily...
How are they still alive, actually?
It's not an area that benefits Tracers, right? You would love to stack McCrees in those corridors, right? Just smash right-click all day long. It's quite easy to get some targets. I think I was talking to the Creation guys earlier about how strong that tactic is. We've seen some teams go more than 2 McCrees on this map as well. You want Tracers in the ring. You want to run literally rings around your opponents, and there's not as many barriers there.
Yeah, and it's so risky. It's so risky now. I think 2 Tracers is overkill. But we'll see if they can... They might prove us wrong. They are very high-skilled players. So either way, the chances are they can just actually rip through a team just because they're very, very good.
Pulse bomb up for IDDQD now as well. Probably looking for hopefully getting more than 1 kill with it at this stage. We'll have to be waiting as sound barriers come down from both sides here. The Primal Rages are ticking off for those Winstons also.
I think for IDDQD actually uses pulse bomb. He seems to be saving it. Obviously, you're going to save the situation, especially if you just cap, because you need every ultimate you can to defend. And they're going to chase for these kills too. Try to put them on a staggered respawn soon. Unfortunately, he's not going to have to wait, or the rest of his team is going to have to wait for him to come back in. And even Zebasai being chipped down to relatively about half HP. Even Skipjack, who's currently at, well, no charge, basically.
This is pretty rough if you're Graviton Surge as well. I mean, being pushed outside of the main complex, that's a pulse bomb going off there. I don't know if it worked as well as it could have.
Did he roll out of that to actually survive, so his team didn't die to the pulse bomb? Because he stuck it.
Okay. Went back and got caught in the Graviton Surge.
So Tracers are working out, but I think it's actually more of a skill gap between the two teams. And also, if you actually do coordinate your Tracers really well and get onto the target, so, and it's also the extra damage on a McCree, just ensuring that you can remove a McCree if possible is huge. But I'm surprised they're winning by this much. So
they do actually push through. At least Devasai has. He's looking for the kill. Gets Tavik down. Let's get AKM as well. So one of the Tracers has fallen. Another of the Lucios have gone down, and it looks like finally Graviton Surge can control this point, but not after they've lost about 60% capture.
Why the sound barrier here, James? I mean, there's just one Primal Wage Winston to kill.
Just use it, take it. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's. I mean, this is they can go out on this map, right? This is the last map potentially, so they need to do everything. And you can imagine that it's a little bit tense over for them. But following AKM, Graviton Surge going to come in. That's going to be a couple of nice kills, and they're surely going to get the checkpoint back and picking it up probably very soon to 70%. And really, there's going to be only one more chance of attack for the team of Graviton Surge, and they're losing people quite slowly. Like losing the Lucio now, that's going to be a very slow recovery. Soon is now on the Genji.
Yeah, try the last map. Does have Dragon Blade available here. That time is ticking up. They're going to hear that being used as well. Pulse Bomb being laid down. Nevix is going to fall foul of that one. ID Cutie gets on towards Zebasai as well. That is an important 1v1 as Zebo was a big part of the retake here for Graviton Surge earlier on, but ID Cutie is continuing his rampage, his double tracer, like you said. It definitely seems like a skill gap. Even Zebasai now is trying to catch on to this one. He takes a lot of damage going in. Didn't want to use his E so early. Managed to at least benefit here from the sound barrier, but that's going to decay quite quickly here.
This is getting very annoying, especially with double chasers in out of both teams, trying to just hold on this point, try to keep it overtime as best they can. But as soon as I speak about that, the rest of Rogue have been able to clean them up. It's going to be Skipjack, the last man coming in. He's eventually going to fall off here in just a few seconds. Even a Graviton Surge coming through, but it really doesn't net him anything because no one's there to help out. And now you see Graviton Surge one round away for being knocked into the loser bracket.
Not a clean win. So it started off with Graviton Surge actually taking the advantage early on, and that was, I think, the Tracers didn't actually offer that much in that first fight. It was a little bit too close and it was a little bit too scary. But actually, when the map opened up, Tracers definitely came into play a lot more, and I was, definitely proven wrong. But I also think a slightly higher, skill and aim across the team of Rogue than Graviton Surge. So. I think they need to play more like the American teams, in terms of getting better synergy in their lineups. They're kind of like wanting to take these big DPS fights versus Rogue, but they're not winning them. So they still even having two McCrees and a soldier. It is kind of squishy. If you threw in just a hog, that even though you can build ultimates off hog, it might be something that you can just get a nice pick and then it snowballs and snowballs.
I mean, and look at Tracer as well. She's so good at just undercutting a team, take your legs out from under you and pick off the important targets before they can even get in towards the fight, and hence stagger the spawns out. But Zebasai, again, consistently performing here. We have to say he's definitely very, very good on this McCree, but it's sheer weight of numbers that's pushing in towards him, and unfortunately, there's not much he can do but just bow down and take it. But now a bit of heal coming through, a bit of a speed boost as well. Some aggression we'll see from Graviton Surge.
They fed Tavik a lot of energy as well. He's at 93 so far. And that's going to do some ridiculous damage, especially if he's able to 1v1 with those left clicks alone. He's not right-clicking off for some extra burst damage, but he doesn't need to, because the rest of the team is going to be there to actually clean up these kills. IDDQD and AKM trying to hold the point, and the rest of the team does come back in. And IDDQD getting relatively low, but again, he will survive, and AKM's there to help out.
Well, it's pretty much straightforward. I mean, this is what we usually see on Kingley Hill games, ladies and gentlemen. It is just one prolonged fight for the entire game. That's kind of what it's supposed to be there. 90 Cutie may be able to pick up Nevix there as well, but Skipjack wants to go in and try and just stamp his dominance on this point. I mean, it's a great stage. It's a great map to actually have Winston and that Primal Rage. Again, you can knock people off fairly easily. It's a common feature we see in these King of the Hill maps. It doesn't get much value out of that ultimate except stall, and, well, we can see that Rogue still have control at this point.
Going to say, what direction is Reinforced knocking them? They're going to be pulled together with the Graviton Surge. The Hydra going to be coming in out of Crew, who's just not really going to connect onto anyone. I think he gets one kill max, but Reinforced IDQD just pairing up together to just keep them off the spot. They're at 54%. They're so close to knocking Graviton Surge into this loser bracket.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty as well. Crew is going to go in there as well. A lot of right-click action, but both teams had sound barriers on them, so it's very, very hard to break through the DPS. Normally, you just have to wait for it to decay and get the real damage done. Unco now going to use his as well, so that's staggered sound barriers. That's so strong for Rogue right now. They've got so much health. They've got so much sustainability as well. It's almost impossible for Graviton Surge to break through them.
have to wonder, what do they need to do here? They haven't even bothered to really get on the point. They're switching to crew over to a Tracer to maybe do something a little bit different. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, actually. It's a lot of damage, yes. You have a lot of sustainability with the double Lucio, yeah, but do they have the damage?
I think you need to create more space for your McCrees, because when you have a McCree and you've got like a squishy lineup and you're playing a McCree versus a Tracer, it's actually like, sure, you think like, yeah, can get the kill on the Tracer, right? But unless you get a flashbang, there's no guarantee, and the Tracer can run circles around you. Now, to make space for your McCrees, you just put in, a few tankier heroes. You like that Hog or another Monkey, or even if you wanted to, you could play, I wouldn't say Reinhardt, but I'd maybe say, another Monkey or a Hog or a Zarya of your own. That, it's your McCrees actually are hard to get to, and if you get to them, you're very close quarters, and you can actually just get taken out in one headshot. So far, the Tracers have been able to fight a nice distance around the McCrees, and it's really not been too much of a problem. But finally, they have got the checkpoint back. Let's see if these Tracers can take it. And there's a lot of, not a lot of ultis, just one up.
The Graviton Surge is about to come up, though, and AKM will have that pulse bomb available. We have Nex finally pop the sound barrier. Kratos is going to need to have his up. If Tibit gets his Graviton Surge down together, paired with AKM, this could be dangerous. The pulse bomb's going to come in. It's going to connect. That's quite a few people going down. And that ideally should be the game, because there's no res on the side of Graviton Surge.
Perfect fight there as well. And you could see AKM's patience. He saw that there was a McCree channeling Deadeye. He thought, no, I can't kill him with this burst. I'm going to back away and wait for my next chance. And that's going to be it. It's a straight 3-0, and Rogue are going through to tomorrow. Well, we had to wait to see this game, gents. We had to postpone a little bit, but it was definitely worth it. Incredible performance from those guys. And again, we talked about it, James, we talked about it, maybe the double Tracer wasn't great on Lijiang Tower, but the skill disparity was definitely there.
Yeah, it's also, finding a counter for it. And so far, I think that's the biggest weakness of nice reinforced getting play of the game, slapping people around. But the weakness I see in the team of Graviton Surge was actually understanding which comp they were going to pick and how it was meant to beat the enemy team. They weren't picking comps that, they were playing, with good intent, you know what I mean? Like, not good intent, but with, strong intent to actually execute something or deny certain heroes of the other team. They were just playing comps, and they were like, well, this is what they meant to do. They try and do them, and it didn't work.
Sure.
So they just weren't breaking Rogue, and also Rogue at the same time, they're fantastic aimers. And so even if you saw the two Tracers and you were like, do you want to play the same game versus Rogue? Probably not. Because everyone on their team, apart from Reinforce, who's a 35%er, is roughly a 50% in terms of aim.
So my question is Rogue, previously IDD QD, are they just getting by on skill alone, or have they been challenged synergy-wise and adaptability-wise during a game?
Skill only gets you so far. In terms of being able to aim, that's great, but being in the right position and having the right space created for you, and getting on the right targets, that's huge. And so